Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ogbanje Joseph. Please, please subscribe to this channel, share, like, as well as drop a comment on the comment section. So today we are going to be looking at Ecowas as an integrative outfit in West Africa. Ecowas as an integrative outfit in West Africa. Now, Ecowas is an acronym that stands for Economic Community of West African States. Now, it was formally established in May 1975 to accelerate, the process of integration and establish an economic and, monetary union to stimulate economic growth and development in West Africa. The vision of the founding fathers at the time of the creation of ECOWAS was one of collective self-sufficiency through the integration of the 15 West African countries into an economic bloc with a single market organized around economic and monetary union. The concern was born out of the realization that domestic markets of the member states, taken individually, were, as a result of their smallness, far from being competitive in the world environment, marked by the existence of large trading blocs. Now, the main objective of ECOWAS was to promote cooperation and integration in order to create an economic and monetary union for encouraging economic growth and development, in West Africa. Now, don't forget that regional body is a manifestation of the desire for cooperation among the people of West Africa. Okay, now it is the structural embodiment of the people's beliefs in a collective attack, against ending enduring problems of underdevelopment in tropical Africa. Okay, now don't forget that now the major objectives of ECOWAS are: one, removal of custom, removal removal of customs, okay, removal of custom duties for intra-ECOWAS trade. Number two, establishment of common tariff. Number three, harmonization of economic and financial policies. Number four, creation of single monetary zone. Okay, so these are the objectives of ECOWAS. Okay, and of course, don't forget, ECOWAS was actually created about 45 years ago. Now, according to the gradualist, approach, notwithstanding, ECOWAS has a very okay. ECOWAS actually has, a very little to show in terms of intra-regional trade expansion and industrial, and all of that, industrial development. So as a result of the slowness, the Treaty of 1975 has been revised. Okay, now the principle of supranationality in the application of decision and the autonomous funding of the budget of the institution have been introduced. Okay, so but now let us look at the challenges. Let us look at the challenges of ECOWAS. Now, what are the challenges? Number one, we have had, stories of repressive government, stories of repressive government. That is number one. Number two, arbitrary economic policies. Arbitrary economic policies. Number three, we have corruption. Okay, then number four, we have terrorism. Number five, we have absence of constitutional underpinnings. Okay, then number six, political instability. Number seven, inadequate finance. And then number eight, we have poverty. Now, but what are the achievements? What are the achievements of ECOWAS? This is where I'm going to actually, spend some time. Okay, now the first achievement of ECOWAS is trade. Now, let us look at trade now. A key need for ECOWAS derives from the artificial nature of national boundaries in West Africa, and then bequeathed, of course, West Africa bequeathed by the colonial demarcations. Now, given the colors of colonialism, the Anglophone, that is Nigeria, was hermetically sealed off from the Francophone West Africa. So the Anglophone West Africa was actually, sealed off from the Francophone West Africa. And both were, impregnable to the Lusophone West Africa. Now, investment patterns were skewed, to colonial requirements. Now, in this regard, a higher premium was placed on the production of cash crops, as opposed to food crops. Now, only 2% of the total Ecowas exports and 3% of the total imports, are within the region. Now, the marginal trade itself is largely zonal, meaning that the Anglophone countries trade with each other and the Francophone with each other. Moreover, a substantial proportion of this low-level sub-regional trade is actually no more than the transshipment of non-ECOWAS goods. Now, and the picture becomes even more depressing when it is recognized that over 60% of intra-West African exports is represented by Nigerian oil, by Nigerian oil alone. Okay, so now, but in spite of the adverse development, ECOWAS remains necessary as a means of, reversing the trade incongruities of West Africa, and to ensure that the countries of the sub-region trade and interact economically more with their neighbors than with the far more remote European states. West Africa, through the process of economic cooperation and integration, have actually ensured this. Okay, that's number one. Number two is industrial cooperation. Now, the share of manufacturing in Nigeria's total export of ECOWAS region climbed from 1% in 2000 to 5.4% in 2010. Now, ECOWAS promotes greater efficiency in Nigerian industries through the creation of an enlarged market. Industries producing for large and geographically diverse markets, tend to locate in areas best suited, to optimum production efficiency. Within West Africa, this gives Nigeria a decided advantage, giving the country's relatively high degree of infrastructural development and skilled manpower vis-a-vis its Francophone countries. Now, what I've just said here is that, of course, when you talk about industrial cooperation, ECOWAS has actually, guaranteed industrial cooperation among the member countries. That is one of the achievements of ECOWAS. Then we also have another achievement, which is actually called peacekeeping mission. Of course, ECOWAS has actually, ensured that there is peacekeeping mission, within the sub-region, and this has helped several West African countries to actually shun, issues that have to do with conflict, and those that are involved in conflict. ECOWAS has ensured, to bring peace and tranquility in those countries. Now, the next achievement is democratization of the sub-region. Don't forget that in several West African countries where elections are conducted, ECOWAS sent, high-power delegations, or monitoring groups to that place to ensure that, the elections actually follow the laid down rules or international standard. The next one is transportation of gas, from Nigeria to three ECOWAS countries of Ghana, Togo, and Benin. Okay, that is another achievement. Another achievement is free movement. Okay, now that is another achievement. Now, another achievement that we are going to talk about is transport and telecommunication. Now, ECOWAS, West African countries are poor in infrastructural development. Now, apart from Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire, there is only the most rudimentary transport system between and within the sub-region. Now, in the colonial era, the building of roads, railways, and ports were not intended, to link the different parts of the sub-region, but to facilitate the extraction of resources to Europe. Indeed, it used to be that in order to make a telephone call from Lagos to Cotonou, for instance, it had to be transmitted first to London and then to Paris and finally to Cotonou. You understand? But with the coming on board of ECOWAS, a lot of these things have actually changed. Okay, that is another achievement. The next one is money and finance. The 16 countries of ECOWAS, okay, with Mauritania withdrawing in 2000, have 11 different currencies. Of these, very few are freely convertible. Now, the difficulties of direct remittance of funds between countries in the sub-region, coupled with the widespread foreign exchange control, constitute a hindrance to the promotion and expansion of intra-regional trade and exchange. Now, okay, so most transfers and exchange transactions among countries were routed through London and Paris. Such exchange restrictions accounted for the widespread bilateral trade and payments, arrangements with the sub-region, which go a long way to hamper trade, promotion. Bilateralism necessarily involves discrimination against those parties not directly involved, thereby creating sheltered areas where prices are higher than it is obtainable elsewhere. So because of this, ECOWAS is actually trying to change some of these things through the use of, through the coming on stream of ECO as a currency. Okay, I've talked about free movement, that ECOWAS objective is for all barriers, to free circulation of people, services, and capital between member states, to be dismantled. Now, citizens of member states are ultimately, to be regarded as community citizens and therefore would not require visas, or resident permits when traveling within the sub-region. They would also be able to work and conduct businesses in all ECOWAS countries. And of course, this has actually been achieved to an extent. Okay, so those are just the major things that we may need to know about ECOWAS as an integrative outfit. Thank you very much.